Now he's starting to, you know, make a real conversation for being the number one guy in this class. Just to get it out of the way, all three of these quarterbacks are almost identical in size. They're all 6'2". They're all 220 pounds, give or take a pound or two. So you're not looking for anything distinguishing in that regard. But Pat Mahomes, 3 years in college, 2.5 years a starter, 63% completion rate, 11,252 yards, 93 touchdowns, 29 interceptions, son of a former Major League Baseball player. I want to ask you, are there character concerns for this guy? Because I've heard
Absolutely
some
not.
rumors. None?
Yeah, none that I've seen whatsoever.
Okay.
But by all, accounts, he's pretty much a stand-up guy who really wants to, learn the game of football as he transitions to the next level. I've heard some, general rumblings about stuff like that, but nothing that really gives me any pause about Mahomes and how he might transition to the next level. Matter of fact, all the reports that I've really read recently are he's putting in a ton of work because he knows that there are areas to his game that he needs to iron out as he moves to the NFL. A lot of people point to mechanics and footwork. I think there are some issues there, mostly of inconsistency more than anything, but there are, things that he'll have to get better at. I mean, he runs in a, pretty wide open spread air raid type offense where, people look at it and they say, oh, he put up big numbers in the Big 12. Not seeing a ton of defenses. It's probably a one-read system, but his system is more complex than I think he gets credit for. And, Ted Witt, I just mentioned him earlier. We were chatting about these QBs in this class, and he said, look, he ran a pretty complex offense. Cliff Kingsbury put a lot on his plate down at Texas Tech. You'd be surprised. He's probably going to come to an NFL offense and find it a little bit easier because of all the complex schemes that they were using. You think air raid, you think, oh, it's simplified offense, a lot of one reads and stuff like that. They put on a lot on his plate. So I think Mahomes is ready from a mental perspective. It's the physical refinement to the footwork, the mechanics and things like that he'll need to sort out going forward. So that's kind of be where, he's really going to have to work on, as he gets ready to go into a training camp.
I mentioned he played as a freshman. This is a leader, is he not? This is a guy who's built for this position. So how much of that do you credit towards him being the guy that you want out of this class of QBs?
I mean, it's one of the reasons where he's up there, and it's one of the reasons why he's rising up draft boards right now. I mean, frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if he's the first guy that comes off the board come draft day. He's got that kind of like stock, and it's just kind of going through the roof right now. I mean, he's got the arm strength to make every single throw in the book that's required of an NFL quarterback from any platform. I mean, he can throw off his back foot with people at his feet, rolling to his right, to his left. I mean, some of the throws he makes just kind of leave you amazed, both good and bad, because he does make mistakes. And that's going to be an issue for his next coach is, are they going to be willing to sort of live with the mistakes that he's going to make? Because he's going to make some plays that just leave you sort of scratching your head and wonder what he was thinking. But at the same time, if you can take that, the bad stuff, you're going to get a lot of great moments from him because he's a guy that, there's no throw he's not afraid to make. He can make throws to every single level of the field with accuracy, with velocity. And, I think he's the kind of guy that I think the sky's the limit for if he's in the right situation. And I know people might hear that and think that's a little bit of a hedge, but if his transition is handled right, I think he could fit in almost every type of offense, whether it's a vertical passing game or if it's a, West Coast scheme or anything like that. So I think, he's a guy that could, because of his versatility as a quarterback, he's not that scheme dependent. Those are some of the reasons why you could hear him come off the board first.
Sounds like you're talking about Brett Favre. Almost.
I mean, there are some Favrean sort of aspects to him. Matt Waldman, who did some great work sort of in the quarterback realm and the skill position and valuation realm. He's watched a ton of Mahomes. He and I did a video on him together. And, he basically said he compared him a lot to Favre, compared him a little bit to Johnny Manziel, but without the sort of red flag issues that there were with Manziel. So I definitely think that Mahomes is somebody that, look, if you're, getting ready to do a fantasy draft, a dynasty draft after the NFL draft comes out, definitely keep an eye on where he lands because I think in some certain situations, like if he goes to Arizona, Andy, if you're in a dynasty league, draft him because that would be the absolute ideal perfect spot, a vertical passing game, learning under Bruce Arians, maybe with a season to learn under Carson Palmer. I mean, I wouldn't be happier for Patrick Mahomes than to see him land there.
Does he make it there, though? Is he your number one?
We're going to talk about my number one in this episode tonight. It's not
Okay.
Mahomes. And frankly, I'm kind of Mahomes for me is kind of a 2-3 in this
Okay.
class. And it's not a knock on him. I just really like sort of the guys in this top four group to varying degrees. I think Mahomes certainly has all the tools, the skill set, and the raw ability to excel and perhaps become an elite quarterback down the road. There are just some guys in this class I'm just a tiny bit higher on.